Everyone knows therapy is great for solving problems, but getting therapy has its own problems too, like finding the right therapist, fitting into their schedule, and of course, the cost. Well, BetterHelp can solve those problems. It's totally online and built around your schedule. It's surprisingly affordable too. Connect with a credentialed therapist by phone, video, or online chat, all from the comfort of your home. Visit BetterHelp.com to learn more and save 10% on your first month. That's BetterHelp, H-E-L-P.
Sing me a song. Do 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 do.
Dr.
Alien theorists theorizing. Oh my god. Are we case file 40?
This is number 40.
Whoa,
Woo! Lordy,
40.
Look
Shit.
who's recording 40.
Ooh.
Alien theorists theorizing. And crazy. Oh,
Does this be our midlife crisis?
this is.
Yes.
Yes,
Our
yeah,
mid-podcast
we're approaching
Let's go
midlife.
buy.
Be life crisis.
Let's go buy
Buy
Porsches.
Ferraris.
Yeah, Porsches and Ferraris.
I'm on it.
You know what? I was gonna sing Under the Sea, but I can't remember how the tune goes.
Like from Little Mermaid?
Yeah, Under the Sea.
Under the sea. That's all I got.
And
why would you want to sing Under the Sea?
Yeah, wait.
Because tonight's case file.
Oh.
Atlantis.
Atlantis. Ooh.
Good
maybe
one.
one of the most requested case files we've had. That has maybe the least merit behind it.
Yeah. which is great. People are just like,
out there.
But it's there's so many theories that it's awesome to talk about, so that's what we're gonna do. Anyways, we forgot to say who we are again. We always fuck it up. We said by the time we got to 40, we'd figure it out.
well, you know what? We should have had Dan fucking
Figured
do the
it.
intro.
Yeah, we should have.
Only time we've got it right was when Dan did it. We fucked it up every time.
You know what? If you're listening by now, and you don't know who we are.
It's part of the charm, really. You know, it's just
Yeah,
it's
it
who
is.
we are.
I think so.
Except just for who we are.
Just for peace of mind, I'm Zell,
I'm Braden.
I'm Dan.
And I'm Byron.
and now you know who we are. Continue.
Continue.
Where were we? Shit.
Last podcast was fun. A little change up, but we're gonna get back to
Normality?
normality.
Yeah, once in a while, we'll toss one of those in because I actually don't remember recording that one at the end. I got
yeah,
meat
it
draw
was,
drunk at the end of that one. So sorry if I was slurring more than
No.
humanly understandable throughout most of the last podcast.
Sorry if I started
And
sounding like
before-
Byron.
I was turning
I gotta-
Australian.
I got to give a quick shout out to my boy Rick too.
Rick too.
Rick too listened to the last podcast. Thought it was fucking hilarious. Rick too is a fucking absolute beauty.
He approved.
People, yeah, I haven't really talked to him about it, but yeah, he thought it was funny. But people were asking like, "Oh, post pictures of the Ricks," and I'm not going to do that. Those guys wanted
The Ricks are anonymous.
anonymous. That's not their real names. I'll never give out that information about them. But Rick too, you're a beauty.
The last podcast
see.
was Rick 2 approved.
Rick 2 approved. I don't know about Rick 1. I think if Rick 1 ever hears it, I think I may be murdered. But we don't worry about that. We'll worry about that when we get to
When
it.
the time comes.
Anyways, I'm not sure if I have any more starting news that I wanted to go over other than space news.
Space news.
What do we got?
So, well, this one's not really space news, but it's really, I was just kind of reading the article and it was like, we talk about AI so much that I was like, okay, I'm going to talk about it. Google DeepMind built a deep learning machine that can learn nearly as fast as a human. And it's actually learning stuff that they don't even understand really how it's learning. at this point.
That's-
So
Oh, it's
Skynet,
it's going beyond our understanding
What-
of AI.
what- yeah, so it's already beyond our understanding, and so Skynet has begun.
Will Smith.
And then to go along with that, another AI news this week. I think it kind of touches base on that article about Google DeepMind. But a man named by the name of Ray Kurzweil, he states that we will see hold on, I got to pull it up. Technological singularity within the next 30 years.
And what's the singularity is like the merging of man and machine.
Yeah.
Like 100%.
Yeah.
Ray Kurzweil, I know that name. What? Who is he? Credentials
let
behind
me-
him? I know. I've heard that name before around that same type of talk. So
Yeah, well, because he's actually Google's director of engineering.
okay, so he's
So-
he's up there.
Yeah. So what he said is like, he said 2029 is the date he predicts for when AI will pass a valid Turing test and achieve human levels of intelligence. And he said before 2045 there'll be a singularity, which is when we will multiply our effective intelligence 1 billion-fold by merging with the intelligence we have created.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
So is that pretty much saying like, if you're living right now, the chances are you could live forever. You could live forever in a computer.
we might be immortal before we die.
Before we die. I've heard that before. Like, because the technology is advancing so fast, we'll be able to
Before we
upload.
die, we wouldn't die though.
Well, like our bodies would die, but our like consciousness would be preserved in like a computer, like that movie Transcendence.
Yeah.
But would it really
Okay,
be our
hold on.
consciousness, or-
But yeah, that's
You
good point.
would-
Dan. Good
you would
point,
like
Dan.
to You would like to think that it's the movie Transcendence and not the TV show fucking Black Mirror, where you're fucking just trapped in a prison.
That
For
shit,
a
That's
yeah,
like
that show's
freaking
crazy.
Okay.
Neuromancer,
I've watched
man. That's
one-
like
yeah.
it goes back to the book Neuromancer, where they put this guy. They generated a consciousness from a guy who's like a legendary hacker, and they put him inside. Like they modeled it like they had a core AI construct, and they just modeled his consciousness around it. But at the end of the thing, like he didn't want to be anymore. He didn't want to exist. He's like, I'm not the same as I was. You know, I'm not me without my senses, without the experience that is life, and the kind of perspective that everything is, in transience or whatever. It's not, you're not yourself. Especially, just like in Transcendence too, where it's like, oh, I'm immortal. I don't have the same perspective on life as I do. Is it really your consciousness? Is it really you? I don't think so.
Sounds like a
Yeah.
little bitch.
You calling out computer generated human intelligence?
Yeah. So then my third piece of AI news. This is more AI news than space news.
Wow.
Elon Musk, never to be out-scienced,
Of course not.
launched Neuralink, a venture
Yes.
to merge the human brain with artificial intelligence. So basically what's happened is Google said, we're going to do this within 30 years. And Elon Musk's like, I'm going to do it tomorrow.
You know what? I've already been doing it, and I'm just going to tell you I've been doing it. That's what he's probably said.
Yeah. Yeah. So, no,
Crazy.
that's cool because he's like, if we know anything about Elon Musk, like whatever he kind of puts his mind to, it starts to really come to be. So
That's cool.
it'll be interesting to see in the coming years what happens with that.
Okay, well, I got one here. I'm going to jump in because we're on the Elon Musk train there. So SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket. A used SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket will be taking a satellite to space for the first time. So the first time a used rocket will be going to space carrying cargo. That's going to be going in June, a Bulgarian satellite.
I think we talked about it last time. They launched one, they landed it within 24 hours. Then they wanted to launch it and relaunch it, and they did that. And now they've launched one. They're reusing one to now send up a satellite
With cargo.
With
correct.
cargo, yeah.
Yep.
So,
with cargo.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So they've
Awesome.
been able to
Sweet.
reuse them, launch them within like a quick turnaround, and now it's, I guess, the cargo test.
Start the Death Star.
Yeah, fuck. Elon Musk, when will you be developing a Death Star? Well, just to let you know that I have the plans, and
When will I be starting?
By 2045,
finishing?
it should be finished. Anyways.
Yeah.
In space news, it's not really current news, but 2 weeks ago, out camping, I saw an aurora.
Oh, me and Byron seen an aurora camping.
Holy shit. I
For
lost
real.
my shit. It was...
You motherfuckers.
I'm sorry, Braden, you weren't there yet.
You
did miss it.
motherfuckers.
You know the first,
You're going to sit
you know
here
the first thing I did?
on this podcast. You're going to start talking about auroras with me.
The very first thing I did was text Braden and go, hey, you
Can you see this?
see these awesome auroras? He's like, get the fuck out. I was like, yeah, auroras and clones. He's like, get the fuck out. No way. It's cloudy here. Awesome auroras.
I assumed that everyone in Canada had seen auroras, but I was very mistaken because probably 50% of the people we were with there when we were camping, there was probably about 40 of us up there, 30,
Like 30 people, yeah.
hadn't seen them, and they weren't the only one losing their shit like I was. Everyone was.
Well, we're
It
like
was
we're
great.
so low on the like aurora belt here. Like we get them maybe 5 times a year, but usually it's cloudy, you can't see them, and usually you got to be up like higher on a mountain, which
light pollution.
which we were too. But
And it's like it's an oval, right? But the oval doesn't mean that you're going to be in the spectrum because the particles hit and split and wave.
yeah,
So you just got to be in like the sweet spots. To be
Yeah.
honest, is like they can just kind of predict where it's going to most likely hit in the oval. But within that oval, it could be anywhere.
And you're right, Braden. It was sweet. It was.
Oh,
I'm sorry, mate, but it was a mate's birthday as well,
It's-
and it was perfect.
it's so fucking captivating when you everyone just like is drinking beers, like having a good time. And everyone's like, holy fuck, look at that. Everyone just stops and just looks for like 15 minutes and doesn't say a word. Like, whoa, man,
It's
that's
yeah.
fucking
What-
cool.
well, it's fucking out of this world. It really is to watch. You're like, what the fuck? You're like, you don't. It makes you just so realize that there's so much more out there. Like we're just on this fucking floating marble.
Disc.
Like
a
it's
disc.
fucking weird. Like
Flat. That's a
you
disc.
just, yeah. Oh, sorry. The concave plate.
There should be a new shape every week for the Earth, I think. What's it this week?
I'm gonna say it's like a yeah.
Dodecahedron.
20-sided die
Yeah.
formation.
yeah. You like D&D?
To be honest, Brad, it was
D4-sided.
It was only green. It wasn't. There weren't no purples. Or like it wasn't a super amazing one from what I've seen in pictures.
Well-
but it was still an aurora.
Yeah, it was fucking sweet.
Well, you'll never. I would be lucky to get those kind of ones even where I'm at, because I'm even still too low for like the real good reds and stuff. But I'll get the faint reds and like the really vibrant greens and stuff up here.
Yeah.
So they say. I haven't seen it yet. So
Hey, but when you do, it's going to be good.
I am doing another trip to the Yukon in 2 weeks.
Too bad that it's approaching summer, so there's
Yes.
hardly any night there.
There is no darkness.
Yeah, it's true. Got 2 hours of fucking nighttime.
Dusk.
Yeah, you get twilight for a few hours. That's it. Anyways, any more space news? Dan?
No, I don't have. any
No, not on me.
Dan's got
No.
no space news. All right, do you want to do
No space.
You want to load up the randomatron?
Yep, loaded up the random shot. I got it right here.
Okay.
Just gonna plug it in right now and
Yeah.
hit start up. Hold on, it's just booting up. Okay. Here we go.
Stop. And
And
let's have
right.
one more full spin.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like it always waits for you guys to like break up the silence and then it goes again. It's so weird.
Just hangs up on that peg and wait for that little
Yep.
last tick over.
I'll have to tune it in. I think something's
a little bit of WD-40. Get it going.
okay. So this one, whoa. Okay, this one is a full page and a half.
Oh,
Okay,
do we bear with? I guess we bear with you. Let's do it.
we bear with it. And I'm 5 beers deep, so
You're all right.
I shouldn't be that bad. Simone no, I'm gonna say It's hard to pronounce names.
Didn't even take 2 words. Not even 2 words.
Well, no, it's his name. I don't want to. I always struggle with how a last name is supposed to be. Is it Simone Tun or Simon Tun?
However you want to say.
I'm gonna go Simon Tun.
Simon Tun.
Joe Simon Tun. At approximately 11 o'clock in the morning of the 18th of April, 1961, a peculiar rumbling noise attracted the attention of 60-year-old farmer Joe Simonton. He went out into his yard and saw in front of him a bright, shining saucer-shaped object hovering close to the ground. It was approximately 12 feet high and 30 feet wide, and there was a hatch open through which Simonton could see 3 entities inside. The entities were approximately 5 feet tall and resembled... Oh my God! Oh my God!
What?
I want to know.
Spit it out.
Hold on. Honestly, because I'm in such shock of what I'm just ready. I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna read the paragraph again because what I'm about to say, it fucking threw me. Okay, so ready? Are you guys ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
The bumblebees.
There was a hatch open through which Simonton could see 3 entities inside. The entities were approximately 5 feet tall and resembled Italians.
Okay.
Italians?
They had pizza, didn't they?
How do you resemble an Italian?
You sure it
The
wasn't
dark,
Domino's?
swarthy skin.
Was it the Domino's?
They're
delivery?
wearing wife beaters. Hey, buddy, hey.
Fonzie.
That's more like New Jersey Italian, probably.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
Probably wearing togas.
yeah, that's Greek, isn't it?
All
Romans.
Romans? Yeah, anywhere over there, I guess that all counts.
They're covered in oil. They're greasy.
Why call them entities? Why not be like, there was a hatch open through which Simonton could see 3 Italians inside?
They're Italian entities.
So they had some wicked mustaches and big bushy brown eyes.
I'm just picturing a huge Mario mustache.
Yeah, it's a me,
Mario.
the entity.
The entity.
Oh God.
Wow. Okay.
Okay, there's a lot more to get to, but I promise
Go.
if I haven't pre-read any of the rest, but if there's any other mention of entity, I'm going to replace the word entity with Italians.
Okay.
Sounds good. Disclaimer.
So the entities were the Italians were approximately 5 feet tall and resembled Italians. They had dark hair, darkened skin, and wore black outfits. One of the men held up a jug, apparently requesting water. Obligingly, Simonton took the jug into the house, filled it, and returned it to the men. On returning, he discovered that the men inside the saucer were having some sort of barbecue.
Oh my God.
Well, they're not Italian. Italians don't do barbecues.
Oh, having some sort of barbecue. Cooking food on a grill inside the ship.
The UFO is equipped with a nice 6-burner barbecue.
Go. I hope they use propane and propane accessories.
Oh.
All right, hold on. This is fucking. You know what? I can tell right now this gets ridiculous. So let's. I'm gonna power.
Is it going
through
to get ridiculous?
Okay.
I can't even breathe. I got an air bubble.
Okay. They're having some sort of barbecue, cooking food on a grill inside the ship. Around them, Simonton also noticed something like computer panels in operation. Simonton indicated that he wanted some of the food, and they gave him 3 pancakes.
Oh wow.
And each
Pancakes.
some 3 inches wide.
What? Those are tiny little pancakes.
It's a fucking 1-bite pancake.
It's what we call a pikelet.
A what?
A pikelet.
Oh.
A pikelet?
A pikelet is a small pancake.
There you have it. Australian word of the day.
It's probably what they called them.
Yeah.
What do Italians call pancakes?
Good.
And they gave him 3 pancakes each, some 3 inches wide. After about 5 minutes, the Italians closed the hatch and the object rose into the sky. It then took off at high speeds towards the south, with such force that the passing of the object bent nearby pine trees.
All right.
Simonton took the pancakes to the United States Department of Health, Education, and Welfare.
Oh my god, he's a responsible citizen.
He took pancakes to the United States Department. Oh god, I'm crying.
What was her answer? Did they test them? Were they maybe
imagine
weak?
working there and some fucking crazy. These are fucking pancakes made by Italians.
By Italian entities.
Oh shit!
Oh god!
Oh my god! Is there more?
Man, I still got half a page.
Oh my god! Okay,
I gotta take a fucking
Oh.
5.
Breath,
I gotta
big
take
breath.
5 breaths.
Okay,
breathe in
okay.
and out.
I'm just trying. All right.
All right.
Sorry. It's honestly so shocking that I don't expect it.
Don't say anything else because I'm about to take a drink.
Here we go.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna read that part again because now I can contain myself.
No,
now
please
that
don't.
the shock is gone.
Go past it. Come on.
So Simonton took the pancakes to the United States Department of Health, Education, and Welfare Food and Drug Laboratory, who analyzed them. The pancakes were made of terrestrial material, but were totally lacking in salt.
That's what they found?
Wow.
This is a joke.
Oh, God.
Are you reading the same book?
Dude, I'm not even kidding. Who
Recipes
analyzed
from
them?
space. Maybe they're on a
Like-
low sodium diet, you know? Like,
There's some guy back. They brought
they
him
got
to
high
the,
blood pressure. Don't
They brought him
Italians
to the
have
lunchroom. These guys brought him to
they-
the lunchroom and they tried him. Someone's like, not enough salt. Okay. Oh,
you know, they're trying to keep the blood pressure down, you know? Space travel, it's hard on a guy.
maybe that's a
Yeah.
requirement for
Oh.
space travel. Yeah,
dude,
low sodium.
honestly, every line of this story's killing me.
Oh. But like,
Okay.
imagine going to them though and saying, "Oh, I've got these pancakes from these Italian
entities.
Oh, we better
Oh,
test
man.
these." As if you're gonna believe him. Like, why would you bother
And then,
wasting your time?
Byron, say you indulge this man. Say you indulge him and test him.
Okay.
You fucking test these pancakes and then you bring them back to this crazy guy. You go, yeah, you know what? They're terrestrial, but you know what's weird? No salt.
No, they don't know how to cook them properly.
Like, how the fuck is that weird? I've never added
I mean,
salt to
at
my
least
pancakes.
they tested it. I mean, that's still kind of cool. I mean, if you're working at the food and health and whatever safety
Oh no,
and food, it's
pinch
not
of
like you
salt
have
in your,
a really busy day
pancake mix.
planned. You'd probably be like, that's the most interesting thing that come across my desk. Like,
Yeah.
oh, cool, space pancakes.
But for them to say no salt in a pancake, they could have told me no pepper in the pancake.
Like
I'm still not surprised at all.
I don't really know like the actual recipe for pancakes, but there
I'm
can't,
just googling right now.
there can't be more than like a pinch of salt if there's any. I doubt it.
No, yeah, that's what I'm. Exactly.
They could have just forgot to put it in.
They forgot the pinch. Like,
They
it's
forgot
missing
to
something.
These are
Wait,
not
these are
so great.
Italian.
Okay, ingredients: 1/2 cups all-purpose flour, 3.5 teaspoons baking powder, 1 teaspoon salt,
Teaspoon, so it's fucking
Eh?
like
1
tiny-
teaspoon
Okay.
white sugar, 1.25 cups milk, 1 egg, 3 tablespoons of butter melted, and that's for a good old-fashioned pancake.
It's old-fashioned like North American
Recipe.
pancake right there. Okay.
So there is meant to be
Okay,
salt,
well, you know what?
but they fucked up. They missed it. They
This-
forgot.
You know what? This is weird. Then
It is.
This is a conspiracy right here.
It is weird. There's no salt.
suddenly
is
this story
evidence
has.
that
It's got merit.
spacemen don't know how to make pancakes.
Okay,
There's
I
more.
still got half a page.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Do it.
Okay, back to it.
So, the pancakes were terrestrial material, but were totally lacking in salt. This has been held to be of some interest in comparing such cases to abductions by folk and little people of Celtic faith. Okay,
Like
so I guess the little people don't they don't use salt and stuff.
I guess so.
Well, that's how you keep out most. Yeah.
They too. So hold on, people, and the fairy folk. They too never tilt and often request pure water of their contactees. What? Those who had known Simonton first stated that he obviously believed the truth of what he was saying. There has been no final resolution in the case, and only concluding statement at all was by Simonton, who ate the pancakes and said it tastes like cardboard.
They weren't even.
These pancakes are shite.
Shit pancakes. Oh my goodness.
Probably because he didn't add any maple syrup.
And just to remind you,
no syrup.
That was a story about UFO, not pancakes.
That ended in straight pancakes.
From the book called The UFO Encyclopedia, the most comprehensive book of UFOlogy ever written.
Wow.
And pancake recipe book.
Yes.
Holy fuck. Man, that one was fucking something else.
Well,
he fucking brought pancakes to the fucking Department of Health.
There's a fair chance he was on a midlife crisis as well, just like we are.
Yeah, he's probably 40.
Wow. I'm chalking that one up to that's a win. That's a win.
Yeah.
That's a win.
For the straight comedic relief, that was a win.
Holy fuck.
That's great. So some Italian entities, cooking up some saltless pancakes
on the barbecue.
On the barbecue.
On the barbecue.
So he's obviously got a hot plate. He's obviously got a hot plate.
How would they do that?
Yeah, they got some.
So the thing is, and that's one thing I've come across to Canada, and barbecues are literally just like grills, like bars. Where in Oz, most of our barbies, we've got a hot plate on one side and a grill on the other, so you can cook your eggs in the morning and you could do pancakes if you wished as well, because you've got like a flat hot plate, not just grill. So the Italians may have brought that to Australia when they came across. I don't know. I've never been grilling in Italy, but it's possible. I've actually got a hot plate on my barbie.
All right, so these
interesting
Italian entities. I can't even fucking speak anymore. I fucking lost my voice laughing too much.
Grilling on a hot plate.
Italian
on a
entities grilling on a hot plate on a barbecue, grilling up 3-inch pancakes with no salt.
Pucklets.
Wait.
Pucklets? Okay.
So Simonson goes in, he goes to fucking health department, and he goes, I have these fucking pancakes. I've tried one. It tastes like shit. Test it.
Test it.
Yep. Extraterrestrial.
No doubt.
Oh, that's fucking.
Okay. Well, let's fucking end that.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Case closed.
Case closed. All right.
No one won.
Case file 40.
Atlantis.
Where the fuck's Atlantis?
Where did it go?
Where'd it go?
Where'd it go?
How do you want to start this, Danny? Do you know some history about the origin of Atlantis, or?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so the origin of Atlantis, as far as people can figure out, is there's no actual historical record of Atlantis existing before it's speak about when Plato wrote his stories about Atlantis in his book. Was it Critias or something?
I think it was called
something like that.
Timaeus and Critias or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Those two, Timaeus and Critias, those two, where he wrote the story, where he was relating the story of this. What he said was could have been real, but most people say it's a fictional city of Atlantis. It was a pillar of technological advancement at the time, had a huge and powerful military, but they were completely morally bankrupt. And this is what caused their nation to fall into shambles and the gods to take vengeful retribution on them by sinking their island to the bottom of the ocean. Plato said he got his story or his accounts of Atlantis from his teacher, Solon, who Solon said he got it from the Egyptian priest. And this Egyptian priest said he got it from hieroglyphic tablets, which were from the time of the building of the pyramids. So, I mean, it's either a really fanciful oral history. People have been intrigued by Atlantis for as long as it's been around. But I don't think it really picked up any steam until about like the late 1800s, early 1900s, where spiritualism really got into it and people started to expand on the theories that there was a lost continent of an advanced civilization running around. But that's pretty much the beginnings of a legend.
Yeah, so it pretty much all stems from just Plato, right? He's like the only historical figure who ever really mentioned Atlantis.
Right. It is the first account or the first appearance of Atlantis in the Western civilization's imagination is in his stories. That's pretty much where it showed up. There's no actual historical record that we have. There's no real nobody else really talks about the city of Atlantis.
No, yeah, it's pretty much what I could find too. That's the only mention of Atlantis prior to like a couple hundred years ago was Plato. And I think I forgot to write down his name, but then people started writing like fiction books about it, right? About Atlantis. Yeah. And then it kind of sprung off on like a pop culture kind of like tangent after that.
Yeah, it popped up like psychics like Edward Casey, who is a really famous American claimed to be psychic. He did a lot of what he said to do remote viewing, past life connections. A lot of people he's the one who placed said he placed Atlantis in the Caribbean. And that's where we got the Bimini Road. If you guys have heard about that, those rock formations that seem to form a highway underneath the Caribbean. He placed it there. So some people say that it's possible locations in the Caribbean. Some other possible candidates for the location of Atlantis are Santorini, Crete, and Tenerife, which is part of the Canary Islands.
Right. Let's go. Okay, let's stay with what Plato said, because he said what people decipher out of his book there is it was located outside the Pillars of Hercules or the Strait of Gibraltar, or what's called Gibraltar, which is like that narrow opening in the Mediterranean to the Atlantic. So from that, people have said like Atlantis must have been out there somewhere in the Atlantic Ocean somewhere.
Right. Yeah. Because he just says it's out. I mean, he says just past the Pillars of Hercules, but a lot of people have interpreted it to be, outside in the Atlantic. It could be anywhere. If it's past the Pillars of Hercules, which was at that time, that was the edge of the known world once you got outside there. But it could have been farther than just the Canary Islands, which are just outside on the west coast of Africa over there. It's just outside the Pillar of Hercules is really kind of vague.
It's very vague. The Atlantic Ocean is fucking huge, so I guess no one really knows. But let's start with a quick theory, because it was a sunken continent. Everyone, like Plato says, it was a sunken continent. It was taken by like either a wave or like fiery destruction. Right. It was like
earthquakes.
It was annihilated relatively in a short period of time, pretty much, and vanished underwater. Right. So, okay, there's this one guy, Charles Hapgood. You've heard of this guy? He wrote a couple books called Earth
Shifting Crust.
Earth Shifting Crust was one of them, and I think another one was I don't think I wrote it down, but he's pretty much saying that Earth's crust at some point in like different intervals, like the magnetic poles will shift, causing the whole Earth's crust to like kind of shift like 15 degrees, kind of thing. And he's pretty much saying that in his time, it actually had scientific like a little bit of credence. He's saying that the Atlantic Ocean was only like 300 feet deep, and Atlantis was like just sunken either by melting ice caps or like a polar shift or some type of weird shift that caused extreme climate change. Atlantis was just sunk like a few hundred feet underwater in the Atlantic Ocean. But when he made his theory, we didn't know anything about plate tectonics or about like the depths of oceans. So like if that theory is to be true, they've measured the Atlantic Ocean, and like some parts of that where they think Atlantis should be in the Atlantic Ocean are like almost 5 miles deep.
Yeah.
So like that type of like crust displacement pretty much is completely negated by all science in the scientific community. But that's not going to stop us from keep theorizing about it.
Oh, why not?
Nope.
Fuck no.
Plato used Atlantis as an allegory, or he said that's what many people said, is for national hubris. Like you're a nation that tries to expand its borders through violence, through a military power, and eventually just collapse in on itself, which is a lot of nations do, and you can see that throughout history. But it could be like most things, it could be based on a kernel of truth. It could be that this civilization, not just Atlantis, but it was a civilization that existed before. And they just gave it the name Atlantis.
Yeah, that goes with it pretty much goes with what I was talking about before, this guy Graham Hancock. That's what he says, is Atlantis was like a prior civilization before recorded history that was super advanced, created maybe they built the pyramids or they built all these crazy structures, and then they were wiped out by some event, either a great flood from melting ice caps, or a meteor striking the ice caps, or some type of great event that pretty much wiped their civilization out in a short period of time. That's
a big natural disaster of some kind.
Yeah, like a big natural disaster, something okay, let's go with because Dan, you said what what was that island? Santorini?
Santorini, yep.
Yeah, so that island, they've actually excavated it, and they've found evidence that volcano on what was the volcano called? Theta?
Yeah. I think so. Something like that. But no, I know the eruption, geologists dated it about 3,000 years ago is when it erupted. But They said that it was probably the most, if not one of the most destructive or worldwide affecting natural disasters of the last 10,000 years.
Yeah, it was super cataclysmic eruption, right? Probably sent out massive earthquakes and tsunamis and probably
earthquakes, tsunamis. They said it ejected enough. It said they estimated that it ejected enough strata, microscopic particles into the air to probably cause what the equivalent of a nuclear winter for at least 2 to 3 years.
Holy
just
shit!
Block out the sun.
Global climate change. Global climate change. It changed. They probably caused droughts. Or unseasonably cold weather systems, so you'd have crop failures all over the world. So it could have caused significant damage.
So this is talking a worldwide event, not just an isolated area.
No, it could the eruption of Santorini. As with most volcanic eruptions, if you have a really bad one, it affects the whole world.
Well, I guess it's what was the last major ones we had? The Chile ones that grounded all those flights, and
there's those Icelandic eruptions that grounded all of pretty much European flights for a month, right?
Yeah, that was fucking crazy.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Because and that's something that we can actually relate to and say, well, we've seen this at least we have in the modern era. So you get something on a larger scale of that, it makes sense. That could be plausible.
It could be plausible because they've actually found it was the Minoan civilization, I think, that was inhabiting those islands around there, and they were just completely wiped out. In their records, they pretty much, it was just they were there and then they were gone. And then they found just in the last 75 years, they unearthed all these structures buried under 25 feet of sediment of ash. So pretty much that civilization anywhere around that volcano would have been instantly wiped out. And then, yeah, as you're saying, maybe a farther reaching global, as you say, some type of nuclear winter, but volcanic winter, let's say. Food dries up, the civilization dries up, the knowledge dries up and disappears over a short period of time, and there you go, is reset. So I think that that theory has some pretty good grounds on the scientific realm, that big eruption and shit like that. But that doesn't really account for Atlantis too much. But
it does kind of line up. Some people say it kind of lines up with what Plato placed he placed the Atlantis existing about somewhere around 3,000 years ago, and the original and some of it in some of the histories what Solon said, that he placed it at something maybe closer to 9,000 years ago is when it existed, but they're saying that maybe Solon, the teacher of Plato, read the hieroglyphic tablet wrong, and that he placed the numbers higher than they were supposed to be. Like he misread the numbers, and that actually this civilization had existed around the time of the Santorini eruption.
Yeah, I could get on board with that, but like the theory of Atlantis being super highly advanced makes more sense if it came from a time like predating like Greece and predating all these civilizations. So like I think because Plato he says in his account that it was 9,000 years before his time, which was he was like 2,500 years ago. So you're like 11,500 years ago, which is kind of coincides with all these other theorists about this great event that happened 11 to 12,000 years ago at the end of the last ice age that pretty much wiped out an advanced civilization on this planet. But I don't know.
Yeah, it could have been. It could have been a couple things. People said it might have been volcanic eruption, but Plato actually doesn't mention like the people in Greece. They know what a volcanic eruption looks like. Like the people know what a volcano looks like, and they would have called it a volcano. But they said that most of the destruction was due to earthquakes and tidal waves.
Yeah, big tsunamis.
They didn't mention anything. Yeah, they didn't mention anything about a volcano. Right, so, I mean, it could have been something more like you said, a cataclysmic event. It could have been some people have attributed the destruction to meteor or meteor impact.
Yeah.
Could have happened around that time and then caused tidal waves, earthquakes. That's a possibility.
What if a meteor hit a volcano and blew it up?
Oh, what if?
Just mega destruction.
2012 level construction.
Brain, you got a theory on it?
Yeah, I do. So my theory of Atlantis, what I like, kind of goes with Earth shifting crust stuff, that Atlantis is Antarctica.
Definitely heard that one.
So some of the reason for this,
Antarctica or is under Antarctica?
Well, it is. So but buried in ice. So it is there, but it's just buried. And I'm going to say, we've talked about this many times, but I'm going to go back to it because to me, it's one of the weirdest things. The Piri, I fucking know how to.
Oh yeah,
it. Piri Reefs. The Piri Reefs from 1513 that outline the coast of Antarctica accurately without ice. Like before, hundreds and hundreds of years before we figure out how to use sonar and shit, all our technology to figure out what it looks like without ice, maps had it fairly close in 1513 and depicted without ice. So was there something there? I think that was Atlantis.
So you think that this Piri Reis guy, he found like more ancient maps and kind of copied his thing? Because 500 years ago, it was definitely covered in ice still. But if like there was a map pre-existing from a civilization such as maybe say Atlantis from like a long time ago, before like shifting plates.
I never thought of it like that because I was thinking fuller shifts, right? And that's why it's frozen over now. So it was 500 years. But that makes more sense is that maybe they found a map that depicted it and he copied it.
Well, especially if like they were meant to be like an advanced civilization, that they would map their areas and stuff like that and have this documentation and records of their history and that sort of thing. So if they were to stumble across these maps, then they were able to, I guess, recreate them and use those to, like you said, outline Antarctica, the ground itself, not what we know now as the ice of Antarctica.
Yeah, because now like we know the shape of Antarctica without ice just from like thermal imaging or whatever, right? You can like kind of like see through
thermal imaging, laser imaging.
Yeah, you can see like, through the ice and you can like find like the rock rather than just the ice and water. But okay, I kind of looked into that map as well, and that map it doesn't really show like it shows like the world. It shows like South America, not really accurate, and it shows a portion of South America that people have kind of said this is the other side of the argument. They said that this map is actually a part of South America that wasn't mapped right, and people have tried to match it to Antarctica, Because if you look at the Pyrenees, if you look at this map and then look at the map of Antarctica now, it's actually not. It's kind of similar, but it's not like if it was an ancient advanced civilization and they knew Antarctica what it looked like, it would be like, right? It would be exactly how we look at it.
Yeah.
But this map is like, it kind of looks like it, but it kind of doesn't. So it kind of like makes it hard to see. That's kind of like the debunking side about it. It's actually on his map. He named it the Southern Unknown Land. So people like it's cooler to think about it as Atlantis was Antarctica, and like a big like plate shift caused it to move like 15 degrees, and then a short period of like a couple years went from like a temperate, like more like probably like a Canadian climate to like I guess a northern Canadian climate, like frozen completely solid. So I don't know, but that's not the only map though that people have found. Have you ever heard of the other one? I think it's called I have such scribbly writing.
You do.
Orontius Phineas. A French explorer he developed another map, kind of derived from the same type of fashion, I guess, as the Pyrenees map, which showed an Antarctica not covered in ice as well. So you got two different maps from two different explorers, taken from different maps.
Or?
They were both not accurate. Well, they like resembled Antarctica, but they weren't like, oh yeah, that's Antarctica for sure, kind of thing. So I know, but if you go with if Antarctica was Atlantis, and Atlantis was this highly advanced pre-human race or alien race from a long time ago, and they had like, if you go with like the Nazi theory of like they went to Antarctica and they found this technology and they reverse engineered like flying discs and like the Foo Fighters and all the shit from this, it kind of goes with that theory a little more.
All we have to do is wait, let's say 50 years, global warming, we'll be able to find out.
That's if you believe global warming. No. Another case.
Well played.
Fake news.
Fake news. Everything's fake news. China made it up. China. No, okay. But Antarctica, because we've talked about like Operation High Jump, when they go down to Antarctica and supposedly were attacked by UFOs and they came back on their mission early, right? So if there was like advanced technology found down there, and say the Nazis went down there and made a base down there, and that actually is some type of advanced race, like that was Atlantis, that kind of goes more with that theory a little bit, definitely.
And yeah, a lot of the Atlantis stuff that we get today is either based from or takes a lot from some of the Nazi mythology that they built around it. Himmler was really interested in Atlantis, saying they were the original Aryans, like they were the perfect race. And they led, the Nazis had like some of the best funded and like the most extensive like archaeological and anthropological searches for Atlantis. Like they were really out there. I mean, they were, they had really great notes and things like that. But all that knowledge that they probably acquired during that thing is probably lost at some point or written off as propaganda.
Yeah, like that's the hard part. Like it just gets like so diluted after a while. For our minds, it's hard to really find the truth. It's hard to separate myth from fact. Like, and if you think of it like just, I mean, from the 1940s, 1930s, 1940s, and they had all this stuff. Like they may have found actual evidence of Atlantis, but then people just wrote it off as propaganda. And that's kind of what the same thing that Plato might have been doing. Like he was saying that how like the Athenians, who were the incorruptible and pure people, defeated Atlantis, which was this huge, powerful nation, and they basically just defeated Atlantis by power of will, is how they did it. So it just kind of it's their form of propaganda for their country, but kind of separating out myth and fact. Is if it's just like in the last 50 years, that's difficult. And imagine it doing a couple hundreds, if not 1,000 years, is even more difficult. Right. Yeah. No, definitely. It's hard. Like it's really hard to like really nail it down, especially with Atlantis, because there's like the theories are fucking endless, right?
You have to. The thing with Atlantis is like you have an entire continent disappearing or island disappearing overnight, which doesn't, happen. like overnight. That's not something that just happens over a course of maybe hundreds of years or thousands of years. You can have stuff like that happen, but it's like a lot of people, like, it's hard for scientists to get on board with the idea that you have a huge, geologic feature, like which Plato puts mountains in there. One of the big like the really distinguishing quality of the Atlantis capital was that it had 3 concentric rings. Like, it was 3 islands, and they were all like one in the middle, then surrounding it was another landform, and then another landform. And it's hard to find those. One of our prolapsers posted an article from MSNBC News. Yeah. Posted that they may have found evidence of this kind of formation in marshlands in the south of Spain. And this could possibly be.
Yeah, I've seen
I think that could be more. I think that could be more possible, because if you're thinking that water levels around that time were lower, they could have been like 60 to 80 feet lower than they are now, up to 100 feet probably. Like, you could probably find a place inside there that might have, or or something like that.
I think that makes more sense too, because if it is outside the pillars, or like this, was it Pillars of Hercules?
Right.
So that's like Spain and, was it Morocco? Is that the one in Africa? Like,
yeah.
Right, the tip there.
Yep.
So like Spain,
Gibraltar.
Spain is just out. Like, if you were to go outside the pillars and go just up to northeast kind of thing, that's still Spain. But if that would have been Atlantis before, and then most of it flooded a long, long, long time ago, the civilization evaporated, and then nature overtook the site, just like it has with like pretty much every other ancient site in the world has been overtaken by nature, and then people find it, dig it up, and are like, oh shit, this is actually something.
Well, it's like the Pillars of Hercules. Like, I'm always kind of questioning whether he actually meant the Straits of Gibraltar. Like, did he actually mean those, or was it another geological formation that he was talking about? Because some people, when they say like, when they say Santorini, like, they put Santorini in the.
Oh my God, we have visitors in the studio. We've been ambushed.
Men in Black.
We've been ambushed by drunk girls singing Men in Black. All right. There it is, everyone. Well, we just got ambushed
by 4 beautiful ladies.
4 beautiful ladies slamming a bottle of wine.
You're not bottle of wine.
Rocking out
2 loaves of bread for it.
Rocking out to Will Smith. Braden's favorite artist, actually.
Very appropriate song, though, for Any Theories Theorizing.
It is.
Agreed. Agreed. Yeah, I don't know what they said, but I agree. We thought long and hard about that one.
A couple girls just finished puking. Now they're here partying again.
We can hold our alcohol.
No one puked.
Karen didn't say a word.
I'm going to go ahead and say that Steph is the winner of the night. So
Steph was the drunkest of the night.
We will see how the night escalates.
Me and Steph lied about Karen and Kaylee puking.
Oh, you did?
Karen and Kaylee did not puke, speaking as one of those parties.
Who puked?
There were 0 people puke.
Oh.
Look at our pupils. They're looking in 2 different ways.
Steph will be puking in about 2 hours.
Steph's an alien. She didn't deny it at all.
No response.
She didn't deny it. We have a real-life alien in the studio. Slamming wine.
She is 2% fluent in Spanish.
2%.
Yo no soy hablo español.
Uno, dosa.
You don't speak
Guys,
Spanish?
leave it to the professionals.
Speaking their alien language.
I have the Spanish covered. I taught a whole yoga class in
Ack.
We're gonna leave now.
The aliens
This is our departure song.
The aliens are leaving?
Goodbye, podcast.
Oh, and it's back. Here we go.
What?
Norbert's waiting for us.
Yeah, he be crying.
Goodbye, podcast. Woo! Goodbye, alien people.
They're prolapses.
You know what?
Goodbye, prolapsers.
There you go.
You know what? The girls, the girl fans of ATT are gonna love this because we never have girls in the studio. So now you've had girls in the studio.
We have lots of
El Nasty.
The girls want all the girls to buy the El Nasty t-shirts. Well, the El Nasty tank tops. We'll get to that end of the show here.
They do look sharp.
Look sharp.
They do.
Anyways, what the fuck just happened? We just got ambushed.
We got invaded, and I will say sorry, not sorry, but welcome to the other side.
And
Yeah,
that's what happens.
We just got a glimpse.
You got a glimpse of my day-to-day life.
Yeah.
Girls is fucking drunk,
Couple of
mobbing around.
rhinoceroses.
Rhinoceroses. That's a fucking great
I've
term.
never heard that
Stomping
before.
around.
That's
Stomping around.
I must admit,
Oh,
after
man.
girls, they
That's funny.
got some baguettes and stuffed bottles of wine that they stole from the wine fest in those bags of baguettes, and
They pulled out all the resources for that.
they've played the game before.
They know what they're doing.
They know how to wine.
There's a wine fest. They stole wine and baguettes. What more can you ask for?
And this is not the first year, I must admit.
No, they're seasoned vets at the wine fest. Though that has nothing to do with Atlantis, but I'm glad you guys got to enjoy that little bit of.
They probably drank wine in Atlantis.
I'm
guaranteed.
sure they
You know what?
did.
Guaranteed they got fucked up in Atlantis.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
maybe that's what happened.
Yeah, they're morally bankrupt. I mean, you can't be morally bankrupt without alcohol.
Exactly.
Oh man. Okay, where were we? Where did we leave off? Like, what were we talking about?
Volcanoes. I don't know.
Oh shit, I don't know.
There's many.
No, this is what
I
happens.
got thrown off.
This is what
The
happens.
brilliance of Men in Black threw me off now.
This is what happens in alien theorists theorizing. Sometimes, like something like that happens, and then we just got to start a new train of thought. So
Yeah.
I'm going to start a new train of thought right now with. So speaking of sunken continents,
Ooh,
they've
good one.
just
Yes.
recently found
Yes.
a sunken continent called Zealandia. You heard about this?
I have.
No.
Yeah, I heard about it.
It's pretty much a nearly submerged mass of continental crust that sank after breaking away from Australia about 60 to 85 million years ago. So a long fucking time is what the geologists will tell you. So
Technical term.
technical
A
term.
long fucking time.
Yeah, well, we said that before. Well, the last time it was really fucking old. Now it's a really fucking long time.
Long fucking time.
Long fucking time.
Makes sense.
So continents, they do sink, but they don't sink rapidly, as far as we know. They don't sink within like 100 years, or like they don't sink in a noticeable amount of time.
Or overnight.
Yeah. And the idea of a lost civilization or a lost continent isn't just you don't just have Atlantis. You have other lost continents. You have the legends of Lemuria and Mu.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to talk
I
about
know
those.
a couple people think. I'll touch on Lemuria real quick. Lemuria was actually the name Lemuria was coined by an archaeologist. His name was Philip Sclatter, and he actually took an interest in it comes from his interest that they were finding lemur fossils in southern parts of India and Madagascar, but not in Africa. So he came up with the theory that there was a landmass or a land bridge that was formed between Madagascar and like the southern parts of India there and Sri Lanka, making it what he coined it as Lemuria, as the place where lemurs come from.
Right.
This also, if you guys haven't heard it before, it kind of lines up with a legend from the southern India, like the Tamil people of southern India and Sri Lanka. They have a name for that area as well. They said that there used to be a continent there called Kumari Kondam.
Condom.
Condom. Protected.
Safe.
And it was a home of a advanced civilization as well, and the continent disappeared underneath the water. So that might have been there's kind of
No, I've heard about that.
Coincidence.
I've heard about that before, and they found part of that legend. There's like I wasn't planning on talking about this, but there was like a king or some leader, and there was a bridge named after him, and supposedly this bridge was sunk, and they found like this huge like pile of like sand and stone that they thought was like natural, but actually like possibly to be man-made, like it's stretching over like from like Sri Lanka like way over to this other island, where pretty much like the myth was that he built this bridge in order to take his troops over from that island to the next. To, like,
right, I'm pretty sure it's from the Ramayana, and it's that King Rama to save his queen who had been kidnapped by a demon king. He had his army of ape men build a giant land bridge, or build a bridge from the southern tip of India to the island of Lanka, and and so there is evidence for a land bridge there, which that it looks, you can see it from space, like it might actually not be a natural, or not might be totally natural. Might actually, some of it might be man-made.
That's pretty cool.
It's pretty cool. Okay, and now
what about Zoolander?
Zoolander?
Zoolander.
What about Zealandia? We talked about Zealandia. It's fucking old. It's really fucking old.
And that's like they found it. That's all they found that was just old. Was there any evidence on there? It was just like the fact that there was a continent that was.
They just found like through like oceanic mapping that there was like the chance like New Zealand was part of a larger continent at one time, that the rest had sunk underwater.
Yeah,
a long fucking time ago. Pretty much is what they're saying.
So it's possible.
So it is possible for continents to sink, but they're not sinking rapidly.
Yep.
Because I think like
you get those sinkholes, like you see them over in Asia, like Japan and stuff like that, where there's like just a big hole that opens up and sinks like a corner block.
Yeah, but it's like
not like a
it sinks like maybe like 100 meters at a time. Like a big one would be 100 meters, and it might sink 100 meters.
Yeah,
but it's not going to be like the continent, like Atlantis. From what all the accounts saying, Atlantis was the size of like Libya and like Asia Minor, so this huge fucking continent, like almost half the size of Europe, is what Atlantis was, as in Plato's account. In the middle of like wherever he says, either in the Atlantic Ocean or in the Mediterranean or wherever the fuck it was a really big continent and it sunk rapidly. And the theories go that like if I can't get behind it really, but if the ice melted off the ice caps, and all the weight of that water went into the ocean and pushed the Earth's crust down, and then that pretty much sunk the island or the land around it with it. So it just like pushed the weight of the water, actually pushed the crust down.
Nope.
Like I don't know. Like the math on that like must be like staggering, right? It must be a staggering amount of mass to be able to push the Earth's crust down into like the mantle and like shrink it like that, right?
I can't get on board with that.
I could get on board with like if all the water melted and all that weight, sure, it could push the crust down like, I don't know, maybe a little bit, but it's not going to disappear a whole continent, I don't think, like that. I think it's impossible.
Agreed.
But like that's one of the theories, like the ice melted, the increased water mass pushed the Earth's crust down into the mantle, the continent disappeared rapidly, and disappeared.
But is that suggesting that Atlantis was lower than what we are currently at the moment in living population, so
Atlantis would be under the water at the moment.
But
much.
Back in the day, we would have been like way, way, way higher than them. Is that what they're saying? That the water in the whole Earth, like,
well, they're saying because if there was way more polar ice caps, so there's less seawater, so there's way more land mass.
Yeah,
but they're saying that if the ice caps melted really fast, all that water rushed into the oceans, creating more pressure on the ocean floor, which like pushed the ocean floor down, which pushed the continents down.
Water levels, essentially, it's global warming.
Yes. But that's the theory is it's raising the water levels, but all that increased water level, all the weight of that water pushing down on the crust would push the crust down more, so it'd actually be like more extreme than we were thinking. But I couldn't find any like real backing besides that, other than people talking about it on forums and stuff. So I don't know.
For all that polar melt, you would have, for what we know now, as far as I guess like glaciers and stuff, and what they carve into the Earth as we know, like land masses at the moment. For that melt to go down, like it would create massive canyons and stuff like that, and scars in the Earth and the landmass that we can currently see.
Well, yeah,
it would have been higher.
Glacier retreating, that kind of stuff you're talking about.
Yeah,
because that does carve like huge like.
You'd have evidence
where we live here in Kelowna.
They paint
BC,
the Great Lakes.
Yeah.
Like you'd see this huge formation.
Like where we live in Kelowna, it used to be like a highly like volcanic region with huge like towering volcanoes, like massive. And after that's ice age, that's what they tell us, is the ice retreated and the weight of the ice was like crushed the mountains and like carved like they pretty much knocked the tops of the mountains right off, carved these huge fucking valleys, and that's why we pretty much have these giant lakes all over BC now. So there's the theory behind that. That's the accepted geological theory of how ice retreats. But we're alien theorists, so I don't know.
Well, in terms of like anthropological evidence, there is a lot of stuff out there that says that the refugees from Atlantis, they spread out all over the world, and that's where you get a lot of the similarities between civilizations in terms of like construction methods or pyramids, and sometimes you find these strange similarities between two civilizations, whether it's like the shapes of their statues or their kinds of religions that they have. I know just recently they're setting back the presence of humans on the North American continent. It used to be thinking they were only here as early as like 30,000 years ago, but now they're setting it back another 100,000 years ago, minus 9,000 or so years. They found evidence of mastodon bones in California where they look like they have been placed in certain formations that are not natural, that you wouldn't find, that only people would do. So, I mean, you have things like that challenge our normal conceptions of what we have.
So when you're saying bones, you're saying like animal or like human bones?
Animal bones. They found animal bones.
Yeah,
and they
okay.
found like
big woolly mammoth.
It would be
bones.
Yeah, and they found them. They were arranged in ways that didn't look natural, and they're saying that
So
these
it's like hunted, collected, eaten, and placed.
Yeah,
cool.
and exactly. So they're saying that these bones confirm theories that humans were on the North American continent much earlier than what they had previously thought.
Wow. You know what? I read it, but I didn't write it down. But they just found on like an island just off of Vancouver, the oldest settlement that they've ever found definitely in Canada, but probably North America, which is like 14,000 years. When before they thought like we've been here for a long time, but they've never found like ancient settlements like that.
Evidence,
and
evidence.
These things predate the pyramids because they've actually done they found organic material and they've done their radiocarbon C14 dating, and they've said like these things are like fucking 12 or 14,000 years old. These settlements. There's no like big megaliths or any like structures like that, but there was evidence of like rock foundation, and they found organic material, and they're like, this is like a full on like changing the history of North America now.
Wow.
So like every year, I bet you every year from now until like we die, they're gonna find something new. Like, holy fuck, this doesn't make sense. Holy fuck, this doesn't fit in.
Yeah.
And every year they're like, okay, well we got to add a little bit. We got to add a little bit. We got to add a little bit more. So.
Well, it's cool because it's like the more technology we get, the more we're actually learning about our history, which is great. Like it's
like the thing about history is like we think we know until you don't know, and you're like, oh wait, never mind, we fucked that up for 30, 40 years. Now we'll change that.
Change it.
Yep.
Yeah, recorded history or like written history only goes back about like 5,000 years, and that's just the rise of civilizations maybe 10,000 years, and it's incredible to see. Like if you look at the pyramids, now, and they look they're really amazing testaments to the technology and the construction and the workmanship of the Egyptians who built them or might have built them. But if they're saying they're only 3,000 years old, they look like pieces of shit, and it's only been 3,000 years.
Yeah,
it's only been 3,000 years, and you look
still
at some
holding
of the,
up better than a lot of the houses I have seen.
Yeah,
the
houses we built now, like if it lasts 100 years, that's fucking pretty good.
Yeah, and you have structures in South American jungles that were built by Aztecs or Mayas, and they're completely covered in jungle and almost impossible to find, or you'll probably never find them. Yeah. And that's only been a couple thousand years, and the Earth has been around for millions and millions of years. It's hard to find evidence if there were civilizations that existed before. Yeah. A couple thousand years is all you would need for a civilization to almost completely disappear.
Yeah, it's if you had if say we fucking vanished tomorrow, our civilizations of the world, like everyone just fucking for whatever
human died, everything stayed as it was, cars,
an
buildings,
asteroid came and fucking annihilated this planet and wiped everybody out. Within 100 years, all the wood structure buildings are completely gone. Within 500 years, all the concrete and shit is all grown over. Within 1,000 years or 2,000 years, there's hardly any trace of humans left unless you start digging.
Takes over.
After 5,000 years, you'll never find anything. And after that, the chances, if say a civilization in 1 million years from now came back and was started digging around and they were super advanced like us and they were finding stuff, They're not finding human fossils because we bury our dead. They're not finding our buildings because they're long fucking gone. They're not finding our technology because it's plastic and it's been decomposed shit. Like, well, it's gone. It's over. So
especially if you had not even just a cataclysmic event. I mean, you could connect it to things like, in some spots in India and Asia, they find evidence of what looks like radiation that could only come from atomic bombs. And some people say that there was some sort of like apocalyptic nuclear war between two warring factions on the planet. Or on this planet, or between alien races that were on this planet. And if an alien race came down and decided to wipe out a civilization like the Egyptians, or were on technological par with Egyptians or Mayans or Incans or something like that, there would be nothing left. Like, you wouldn't find anything. And it reset human history back so far. And they literally nuked us back to the Stone Age.
Yeah, we've definitely talked about that before. That, like, I think humans have been reset multiple times by nuclear war or not. I don't know, but these fucking pyramids and shit, the aging of the rocks is not just a few thousand years old. These things are fucking old, man. Like, really fucking old. And they span the continent. Pyramids on like pretty much every continent. Buildings are the same fucking everywhere. All these ancient structures. I strongly agree that there was one advanced civilization that existed before our written history. And like all the stories passed down from them are like the stories of the Bible, and all other religions are all kind of like all spawned from a central civilization or the end of a civilization at one point. That's what I think, at least.
Yeah, I totally agree. I can get on board with that theory.
Because like that's like really the only thing that it just kind of makes sense. Like we were here. We got advanced. Something happened. It's hard to tell exactly what. And we just like within like 50 or 100 years, like the civilization evaporated. Like all the knowledge like went down. And the only thing left to preserve the knowledge was the pyramids and all these other ancient sites that are going to last probably another 10,000 years because they're built like so fucking solid, earthquake proof and perfect pretty much.
Yeah. And it's not, and maybe like you could find records of these civilizations in some places. Like if you look at it's just hard to keep knowledge around, especially at that time, or even like, you could say even a great example is the library at Alexandria, which was built like around like 300, like probably it's I think 200. No, like 300 BC.
Yeah, I think so. Something like that.
300 BC, and it was around for like which is relatively a short time, but like 600 years. It was around 600 years before it was burnt down by Romans, and twice, I think. And they lost all the knowledge, which is a depository of maps, engineering knowledge and all those things. They lost the majority of that knowledge in those fires. And you can imagine like how much knowledge was lost. The Library of Alexandria, its contemporary counterpart would be like the internet. Like we just completely lost the internet, all human knowledge up to this point.
Yeah.
And it was all gone.
Brutal.
Just something like that happening. And that's just humans, like normal, wars and things like that, how much we've lost over the years. It's not, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that an entire civilization could get wiped out and then you wouldn't really know anything about it except oral histories. Like you just get some people talking about like, yeah, I've heard of this place that existed.
Yeah. And then you get the oral histories, which very well could be true in some form, but then everyone just discounts them as like, oh, that's just myth, like passed from generation to generation. But it very well could be like some type of truth in these old like native stories passed down and these ancient texts of like describing events like the Great Flood and stuff. That could have been a real event, not caused by God flooding the earth to kill people because people weren't obeying him. It was maybe the ice caps melted, maybe a meteor hit the ice caps, or some fucking great like. Maybe it was like a pole shift, or maybe it was some type of great event that like just shifted the entire planet relatively short, flooded the place, and people like cultures all around the world were now separated, and they all kind of like started their own stories of that event, like, because this is actually one theory I was going to touch on that we didn't talk about is the Black Sea. There was actually a flood in the Black Sea, like I can't remember, like 3000 BC. and I think a lot of people think this is where the story of like Noah and stuff comes from, is that the Black Sea was breached by the Mediterranean Sea, and within a short period of time, like a month or two, maybe like the 40 days, 40 night kind of style from the Bible, the Black Sea actually flooded, and all those civilizations that were like surrounded the Black Sea, it rose like 300 feet in a short period of time, and those civilizations were like kind of wiped out, and they all kind of fled in their own directions, and those stories just carried on from like different parts of the world, and then religions kind of spawned off of those differently. Depending where you live.
Legends and myths, they always have that kind of same quality of sometimes compressing time, where it's like, oh, okay, so they say that something might have happened over 10 years, but then they say, oh, it happened overnight to them.
Yeah, to add like maybe a little dramatic effect or something.
Yeah, so it's not, if they said 40 days and 40 nights, yeah, it could have been a couple years, or that could have actually, carried on into that. But some legends, all legends or most myths are carried like some little basis of truth in there. And it's just our responsibility to go out there and look for it. At least lend just a little bit of credence. Like, you don't have to go out and full out believe it, but just lend a little bit.
Yeah.
And find these things. Find those little bits of truth to concentrate on, and you find something new.
Yep. No, I'm on board. Like, humans, I think, are a little bit arrogant when like we figure something out, like, oh yeah, this is it. This is the right theory. And then you just like everyone gets so on board with that theory, right? And then like to try and change that theory, even though like say like one day we figured out like, okay, gravity is right, but it's not quite right. And here's the new theory. It would take probably like fucking 50 years for people like, oh, you know what? Our full theory of gravity is like, we're almost there, but this new theory is just a little bit better. Like, let's adopt this. But it just take like so fucking long to switch, like to like knock it. Because people like spend their whole lives studying something, right? 40, 50 years, you're studying something like these Egyptologists and shit about the pyramids, about like, it's all based on theory. There's no real fact on who built the pyramids, how it was done. So everyone's like so on board with how they were built and who built them, because one person made a good theory that was accepted, and that's now truth, but it's not really truth. It's just a big theory. And then when someone comes with a new theory, it's like, no, can't, no way, no fucking way. That's retarded.
True. Yeah, exactly.
And it lends, it gets that little bit of kind of cultural superiority complex kind of injected into it sometimes, because you get the whole thing that like, oh, Greece was the foundation of Western thought, or like they came up with all these technologies and things like this. White people did it, kind of a little bit sometimes, and it's like when you try to think about, other civilizations like the Aztecs and how, they weren't just human sacrificing savages, like they had an advanced civilization, and they like astronomy and mathematics and engineering. They had all these things. And then you just had Europeans come in and wipe them all out. It just makes it easier for people to kind of think about, oh, we were fighting the savages, and that's just how it had to work. We had to stop all this stuff that was going on. But it's like, no, we lost like entire hundreds of years, of knowledge because you came in here and just you wanted gold.
I know, because it's like it's that term Occam's razor, right? People like think like, oh, the simplest solution is probably the right one, which most times it is, but a lot of times it's probably not.
No.
So people are like, okay, there's pyramids here, there's Egyptians here at this time, they must have built the pyramids. We found like one piece of graffiti which said Khufu or whatever, and oh, that's his fucking pyramid for sure. Like that's pretty much what the pyramids were deciphered, like who built them. No one fucking knows. So like Atlantis, okay, there's a couple things I want to say about Atlantis that I totally forgot. You ever heard like of the myth of like the city of Troy? Right? Everyone see the movie Troy.
Yeah.
Fucking Brad Pitt.
The Iliad, Homer's epic. Yeah.
Eric Bana.
Yeah. So like for a long time, for like forever,
best part of that movie.
People thought that was a people thought that was a fictional city, right? And eventually, people started finding it. And they're like, you know what? I think this is Troy. And then eventually, like, yeah, this is Troy. Troy's a real city, Turkey. Right? So if Atlantis is the same thing, let's say. Maybe someone one day will be like, we found like, oh, wait, what's this? And then be like, oh, maybe this is Atlantis. And then another 20 years goes by, and they're like, you know what, guys? Atlantis is real in some form. It's not exactly what Plato said. It's not what you guys are theorizing, but there's this thing here we can't explain. it might be Atlantis. Like I think if Atlantis is true, that's how it's going to be found.
The Earth may be flat.
And and it's like if you find evidence of like Troy, which was like this great prosperous city and things like that. I mean, if you go back to, even if you go to the Middle East, like you can see evidence of like when Genghis Khan like rolled through there and he wiped out entire cities. Like he diverted rivers, to spite cities in some cases. And like it used to be Iraq and Iran and those areas used to be these huge fertile lands with like tons of green and not so much desert as it is now. But Genghis Khan rolled through there and was like, you know what? I'm just going to move these rivers over here because you guys are being dicks and we're going to wipe out your entire city. Yeah. Just that's human. That's human ingenuity. And that's not even like full on like nuclear war.
No.
And that you could wipe entire cities off the map. And like, if you're just talking about human cause destruction, like geological destruction is like way off the charts. Like we've never
not even scalable.
Like in our time, we've never seen. You probably couldn't even comprehend the kind of destruction that a real global natural disaster could cause. Like anything, like one of the eruptions, like the caldera, whatever, the Yellowstone caldera.
Oh, I was thinking the same thing. If that thing fucking erupted, that super volcano, that's like a fucking global game changer. Completely changed civilization.
Exactly, bud.
Yeah, you done, bud.
The way
the
life that we know it. And we can't possibly understand that. And if something like that did happen to a civilization, I don't think we realize like how fragile like our civilization actually is. When there's something like that,
we are totally fragile, and that's one thing I miss a lot. Like since I've been living here in BC, I'm a fair way away from the ocean. Growing up in Oz, I was always close to the ocean. Doesn't matter when it is, you're out there, it's nice and calm, and then all of a sudden the weather can change, and you're out in a little bloody tinny little boat, and the swell will pick up, the wind will pick up, and you're in a lot of trouble. You put that on a large scale. Today, we had a shitload of rain, which was very uncommon for Kelowna, and like there's riverbanks like flooding. Like little creek beds are like raised up, and trees coming flying down, and like this is small scale stuff. You put that on a large scale, massive floods. You're talking about like blackout clouds that just cover the sun. Like we get little glimpses, tsunamis like wipe out, Japan and stuff like parts of Japan.
Yeah, these are just like regional ones. Like a global catastrophe,
exactly.
You say like a giant rock from space, like the size of a small state or something like that, even like a small town, could cause a lot of stuff. Well, actually, there's a theory gaining ground now that there actually is a lot of astrobiologists are getting together that there could have been civilizations existing in our solar system previously, but we just can't. You don't see them because it's been so long that they've been gone, or we just haven't had a chance to explore
fucking Mars, man.
Mars or Venus, even like before Venus became all greenhouse nasty and pools of
greenhouse nasty.
I like it.
Pretty
next
much
t-shirt.
That
greenhouse.
There
nasty.
could have been actually civilizations that existed in our solar system previous to ours. You just have to realize that our planet and like the planets in our solar system are just little rocks floating around in space around a big old ball of fire, and that there are other things floating through space. You got rocks thrown through everywhere, and it's like eventually you're gonna get hit. You have like billions of these little rocks flying around space, and you're gonna get hit, and any one of those can be big enough to cause a catastrophe and set a whole civilization or wipe a civilization off a planet. Like it's just like kind of the natural order almost.
So realistically, if there was something common that we couldn't divert, because we have to divert it much. I've seen like videos of like
Armageddon,
what they would theorize, like if a giant asteroid was coming, it would do, and they could blow up nuclear missiles like as it was passing, and they just have to shift it just a little bit to completely miss it, right? Because of the
trajectory.
If you hit it far enough away from Earth, it would just knock it off just like a half a degree and it'd be enough to miss. But
honestly, if we found out early enough, there's, to be honest, no level to human ingenuity. We went from in fucking 66 years, we went from the first fucking aircraft to ever fucking take off to landing on the moon, allegedly.
Yes.
Right.
Allegedly.
It's 66 years.
I know it's.
I think they said we would have. I think with current detection technology, I think NASA's pretty much said that they would have a maximum up to 2 years warning if something was going to, like, if there was going to be an impact, like if something was going to strike Earth or definitely strike Earth, they said that we would probably have about 2-year warning.
Well, that's not even time to teach a bunch of miners how to be astronauts and send them to it.
No, that only takes like 6 weeks.
I think it took 6 weeks.
Depends on the montage.
Oh, okay, good. So we can try it a couple times.
You just throw up Bruce Willis with a few crew, and he's good. He's good to go.
Ben Affleck.
Right.
Ben Affleck, yeah.
Bumchin.
No, it's crazy.
Was Steve Buscemi in that movie?
Buscemi's in there for sure. Yeah. Liv Tyler. Beauty. That's all I can remember.
I was just thinking like Tom Jones. That was a different one.
Billy Bob Thornton.
That was Space Cowboys.
Oh.
Space Cowboys.
That was Space Cowboy.
Space Cowboys. Okay. I get him confused.
Space Cowboys was.
I just hold you close.
The Cowboys.
No, Space
Your
Cowboy.
heart so close, and we'll stay here in
One of our
this
greatest
moment.
power ballads of the last.
For all the rest of time. That's it.
I don't want to fall asleep.
We just need the power of
I don't
Aerosmith
want-
to divert, giant.
If everyone just sings
Well,
that song,
It's the vibrations. Just go out there and just like push it away.
if you believe
It's
it,
like-
if you
it's
believe
like
it, it will
Ghost-
happen.
It's like Ghostbusters when they ooze the Statue of Liberty, and then everyone's out the good vibes.
That was the best. Your
Exactly
love
like it.
keeps
You
lifting me
lifted me
high.
higher. Great movie.
All we need.
All right. Well, like Atlantis,
Yeah.
the theories are endless.
It's a hard one. Atlantis is a stretch for me. I think the most
Yeah.
believable thing for me is that it's a story.
Just a story.
For me,
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
I
wouldn't be surprised if it was it's a story, but it's a story based on like an actual event well before the time of Plato. Something that he maybe got from the Egyptians or the Egyptians got from someone else. Maybe Atlantis was like Graham Hancock and these guys say, like it was like the global spanning civilization that we've named Atlantis. It could have been named whatever. It could have been the Anunnaki. It could have been fucking whoever. But it was actually like, because there was.
Oh,
there
you know
is-
what? It
there's-
was like you could just put it all together and say that was the global spanning civilization, and then they had a civil war, and it broke out. They had nuclear weapons, and they set us all back to the Stone Age.
Very well. That's the theory, because like we talked about Lemuria. There's theories that like Lemuria went to war with Atlantis and they wiped each other out, or Atlantis wiped out Lemuria, and who fucking knows? But like the theories go endless. So you know what? Who knows? If we're advanced now to be able to wipe ourselves out with nuclear weapons, but we can't build the pyramids. If those guys could build the pyramids and they still had nuclear weapons, they might be 10 times more advanced than we are right now.
Mm.
And then when they reset to the Stone Age within a few hundred years, all of a sudden you're writing fucking
Square one.
You're go back to square one. You're writing the Bible about these stories of like gods, but the gods are this advanced like humans from a time that we didn't know about or can't remember and couldn't relate to.
Yeah,
you start creating stories, fictional stories about it. Turn into a book after 1,000 years, like the stories that turn into fucking who knows what. And now we're here. I don't know.
Got it.
It's fun. It's fun.
Started from the bottom.
It's fucking
Now
fun.
we're
It's
here.
fun to talk about. It's fun to talk about like being reset. Like humans been reset a few times because it kind of makes sense in a way.
Yeah, I think so 100% with all the meg structures.
It does make sense, yeah.
It's either ancient. it's either ancient
any
astronauts.
fall of a large spanning civilization will cause. I mean, just look at the Dark Ages, like the
Yeah.
fall of the Roman Empire, and you saw like just like roads in themselves and infrastructure falling apart, and you have people who are living with like aqueducts and these things like this, and just in a 100 years, people are living in like squalor, just like
Yeah.
garbage towns. It's
Sweet. Well, I think we've gone. I think we've fucking done all we could on Atlantis.
Yeah, we've kind of went all over there.
Yeah, we went a full spectrum theorist.
I think we hit
special.
most of the places where we thought it was going to be, and some people posted some of their theories on there. They're pretty good. So
yeah,
definitely,
I think we got it.
Sweet.
Yeah.
All right.
Next,
house cleaning. What do you got, Braden? You got anything to talk about?
House cleaning.
Clean that house.
House cleaning.
Keep it tight.
Trying to think if I signed us up for Snapchat. I haven't slowly figuring it out. If you added us on Snapchat, start snapping more snaps.
Snapping snaps. I don't use Snapchat. I don't know fucking how it works.
Snap
I don't
nudes? I'll
even
snap
know
nudes.
how it works. I don't know how to work.
Dan
Dan
can barely log on to Facebook, so don't rely on him for anything.
I don't even know how. What is it? Instagram? I don't know how Instagram works. I don't even know what that is.
You take a picture, you send it.
Yeah, you fucking do a bunch
Post
of
it.
hashtags.
That's what Facebook.
It's pretty much just Facebook, but mainly just pictures, I think.
Instagram is purely your photo part of Facebook.
I'm really hard.
Anyways, okay.
Twitter's the comments.
Twitter's.
What are these? What are these photos that you speak of?
A time from a different civilization, Dan.
Throwback.
Throwback way back.
Hashtag Throwback Thursday.
Throwback Thursday when I invented the wheel.
All right, I want to talk about some T-shirts. The men's T-shirts are gone. Thank you very much for everyone who bought one of those.
I've only seen like one picture of somebody wearing them.
Not a lot of people have sent their pictures in. They might be just getting them because they take a couple weeks. So
I should have had one with my beard.
Should have.
Damn it.
Now the girls' tank tops weren't selling, and I think I figured out the reason because the website is fucked up. For some reason, you can't. You can click on the girl's shirt, but it doesn't let you go to the checkout. Yeah. So I think I fixed it, but for some reason it's a coding error and I can't code. So what you have to do if you want a girl's tank top, you have to just now go and go into the.
If you're a girl and you want a tank top, get it. You know.
Yeah, Alien Theorist.
You have a small dog
and you want a girl's top.
If you have a dog, it gets cold out there. Put them in a girl's tank top.
And there's no discrimination who wants to buy a girl's tank top. You want your guy, you want a girl, you want a guy, you want a girl. You can buy as many as you want. It doesn't matter.
At this point, if you're a guy dog and you want to get one.
At this point, they're just unisex tank tops.
They're unisex tank tops.
If you want to be in the gym wearing one and look really good because they're tight.
Yeah.
That's fine. But yeah, go to alientheorist.com/shop. Click on Girls El Nasty Tank. Go to the checkout. And in the comments, you have to put the size because before I was trying to put the size, like you could select the size and do it. It's all fucked up. The coding is all fucked up. I don't know how to work it. It's impossible. I'm not going to pay someone to do it. So if you want a tank top and that's not working for you, you can email us, alientheorist.com. We'll be like direct contact. We'll tell you how to do it and we'll send one to you. No problem. But yeah, it's all fucked up.
We'll hook you up.
For the next batch of t-shirts, I will have to get some outside help. And we'll have to figure that out. But for now, what can you do?
Sounds good.
They have sold faster than the last.
Oh, the guy's shirt sold out instantly. Like 4 days, they were gone.
Wow.
So it's good. Pretty much made our money back.
Those girl shirts. Hey, all you guys that bought yourself a shirt,
buy the girl shirt.
Hook up the ladies, mate.
Buy your special lady shirt.
You guys can wear the El Nasty on the tits and go to the bar and have a good time.
Pigs can wear them. Birds.
Because
anyone can wear them.
When this is done, we next t-shirt contest.
Yeah, once the girls' tanks are out, the next t-shirt contest begins. So let's get those done. It'd be sweet. Sweet. Anything else, Braden? Byron? Dan.
I don't think I got.
I'm done.
Else.
Oh, I'm good.
Okay, I got. Zell's prolapse of the week.
Dun, 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 dun.
I'm gonna give it first time prolapse of the week to Matthew Huey. I think his name is Huey or Huey. I'm not sure the pronunciation on the last name, but
it's a Huey.
Huey or Huey.
It's Huey.
You know who you are. Anyways, he gave us some good theories on
Mad
Atlantis.
Hueys.
He definitely gave us some good theories on Atlantis, and we kind of talked well, we didn't exactly say exactly what he said, but we kind of touched on what he told us. So you're the man, Matthew Huey, or Huey. Zel's Pro Episode of the Week. Sweet. Music by Meteor Studios. I'm working with some bands right now, but they're not done, so you can't hear the music. So for this week, you just have to settle for the theme song. Just a classic theme.
I like
nothing else. So sweet.
Okay. We'll see you when we see you.
No,
You'll hear us when you hear us.
I like that a lot. No promises. So there you go.
And as always, keep those. You know what? I'm gonna change that. That's the new one. That's my new ending. My new sign off is gonna be, well, yes, when you see us, and you'll hear us when you hear us. And as always, keep those eyes, guys.
Eyes on the guys. Eyes on the guys. Eyes, guys.
Eyes on the guys.
Those eyes on the guys.
Yeah, those eyes on the guys. All right.
Everyone knows therapy is great for solving problems, but getting therapy has its own problems too, like finding the right therapist, fitting into their schedule, and of course, the cost. Well, BetterHelp can solve those problems. It's totally online and built around your schedule. It's surprisingly affordable too. Connect with a credentialed therapist by phone, video, or online chat, all from the comfort of your home. Visit BetterHelp.com to learn more and save 10% on your first month. That's BetterHelp, H-E-L-P.